This is Conversations, and my name is Elizabeth. Today we'll be looking at something that borders around everybody's, door. Everybody's
Democracy is described.
Might just be rocked. What am I talking about? Let's start by the definition. Democracy is said to be the government of people, by the people, and for the people. And for me, the key word there is people. The translation means collective effort, everybody's efforts to ensure that things are done well, people are governed well. But on the other side, we find out that a lot of times some people, all of us, me inclusive, point at certain people to do the right things. We point at people we give the title government to do the right things. The question I want to ask is, do you understand that all of us have a part to play to ensure that true democracy is enshrined and practiced in Nigeria? You don't need to be an adult, you don't need to be a young person, you don't need to do particularly anything. Even if it means just obeying the rule, that's what it takes to have good governance. My team and I will be, munching this, talking about it, finding out our roles as citizens to good governance. And when I say my team, I know that, let me start from my left. Lady in Black. The song was Lady in Red. Your own is Lady in Black, right? Okay.
Yes, Lady in Black. My name is Joe Akpanachi. It's good to be here this morning.
Okay.
My name is Maimuna Omi Abdullahi, Coach Didi. Good morning.
Okay.
And my name is Deva Hamach, your mom, and it's good to be here.
All right. We will be going back to the streets to look at something we ran into some time ago. We had this particular group of children, come into our studios some time ago. I want to recapitulate that and take it to the next level where they have gone. It is the participation of young people, beyond our imagination to see that things are done right. I don't want to, empty this, but my winning team went out there and sought with the Rebuild Nigeria, Rebuild Your Community group, and they've brought this back for us. Let's see it.
Government of the people, by the people, implying an all-involving government, even the very young. However, we often find our young citizens unperturbed with governance. One wonders if they understand that they can meaningfully contribute to nation building.
Well, of course, I think that young people can definitely contribute to nation building, especially young people like me and young people like us. This can be through different means, through societal means, and when we are educated properly, whether it be through means of school or outside or informal education, we can lead to major nation building through means of whether it be architecture, whether it be business, or whether it be just educating the younger ones. And I think that when we continue to do this and when we continue to push forward as a nation, we can lead to nation building.
One of the beautiful ways the young can contribute to good governance is by obeying civil rules and getting involved with simple community services for the good of fellow citizens. Let me bring it home. You run a Give Back program as your school social program. Tell us about it.
So we are rebuilding our community, a teen-led non-profit organization, and from January to July we've been running a school project. So this project aims to fund 100 students in public schools through their examination classes. So that's primary 5, 6, and JSS 3. And then also we aim to equip these public schools with supplies such as desks, chairs, and then also provide the students with backpacks, school supplies, etc.
Quite daring on the part of these children. But what other activities do they get involved with for Nigeria?
Of course, we've had successful events in the past, but in the future we're looking to plan more fun events that also gather donations without asking people for money. Of course, we're a teen-led organization, and since we're teenagers, we're still in school, and we have to juggle between school and this organization as well. And sometimes most people that we meet don't take us seriously. We're working on that.
And how do you source your funds?
So one of the ways that we raise funds for our projects is to organize fun events that people our age can attend to support us.
Another way we source our funds is that we reach out to different members of our organization and to venture out through their close friends or their family members in order to donate monetary funds.
Any success stories on this?
And we have had quite a lot of success stories in this organization. Currently, we have made 570,000 out of 2.5 million for the school project that we're hosting. Previously, we've held a lot of successful events such as the pad drive, we had a food drive, and we've also had a lot of organizations come and donate and fund a lot of our projects.
I'm sure you have challenges with these sometimes. Share that with us.
You know, we're a non-profit organization, so we don't really have a stable income. So most times we have to rely on money that's been donated. And you know, we can't keep asking people to donate us money and all that. So we have problems like getting money and all that.
We all need to take a clue from Aisha and her team, because to build a nation, one does not necessarily need to be an adult, and one does not necessarily have to be rich. It is a collective effort. As Nigeria takes in our new government, let's continue to do our bit as good citizens to support each other and build a great nation.
It's rebuilding our community. You know, when I was listening to those children, I got a bit of a goosebumps when they told me how they actually get their money. They say they have their pocket money from their parents. They actually save 50% of whatever their parents give them in a piggy bag and collect them to pay other children's school fees. You know, we would have actually sat back as large adults as we are to say, okay, why is government not giving them scholarship? I'm not saying it's the wrong thing to do. Why is this big man not sponsoring them? But look at kids who are not working based on their pocket money, you know, donating to pay other children's school fees. It's something we should emulate and encourage. Beyond just paying the school fees, I mean, if I can, as a kid, donate money off my pocket money, I can still take care of somebody who is sick in the hospital. You know, I can help buy certain things for my neighborhood kids. And like I still tell people, good citizenship is not just when you give physical things. There are a lot of things we do, you know, service to humanity that stands you out as a good citizen. And I want us to share into all of that. For me, the biggest one is beating traffic lights.
Hi.
Have you had the experience? There is no single day I am on the road I am not screaming.
Okay.
No single day.
Let us start from the traffic light that you just said. I see parents driving cars with their kids in the car, and they beat the traffic light. I mentioned something to a leader, because I always say that, yes, you're a leader. You're not just a leader. For you to be a leader, you have to do things that are right. So I have to look at you and say, this thing was given to you, so that means you were competent to do this job. Here I see my leader beating the traffic. I accosted him, and guess what he said? I was late.
So why did you even go
So
late?
the point now was that you already know the timing of what you are supposed to do. But you see this normal thing in Nigeria where we beat the traffic, okay, there's no road safety, there's no all those stuff that will catch them on the road. Because most of the time when I notice that they're not beating traffic, when I look ahead or I look behind, I know that road safety is somewhere very close.
Definitely, definitely.
And sometimes we don't even understand the lights. We don't know when it's get ready to go. We don't know when it's get ready to stop. So the thing here is that we have Nigerians who just decide to take the key and they just drive. So they don't understand anything about driving. They don't know that they should go to driving school first. Parents should send their kids to driving school. If they pass it, then they now start getting the license. Because when you go to driving school, they give you pointers. You cannot beat the traffic. Most accidents in Abuja is caused by traffic lights. And the thing now is that Abuja Road is fantastic. So I'm very happy we're discussing this, because right now there are different people from different parts of Nigeria who are in Nigeria, are in Abuja. And guess what? They don't understand what it means to stop at the traffic light, and it's going to be a big menace if we don't try to stop it.
As a rider to what she just said, you know, I'm glad that we started this conversation from what seems like a mundane perspective. But this is one of those things that the citizen can own completely.
Beautiful.
Now, something that has become a growing trend in Abuja and is extremely dangerous and augurs worse for us than even beating traffic lights is driving against traffic.
Ooh. It's crazy.
It has become the norm. It used to be that whenever the Nyanya Maraba axis gets choked up, you know, out of desperation, people will hop on bikes and the bikes will use the other lane. I used to kind of get that, because sometimes a trailer will fall, block the road, people are sitting there into the AMs. I used to get that. But now it has gradually crept into the main city, such that that airport road axis, for instance, that is smooth as silk, wide as you please, I think it's like 4 lanes on each side and everything. You find bikes driving against traffic. You find commercial vehicles particularly driving against traffic, and what are they doing? They're running away from VIO, they're running away from road safety, either because they've been asked to bring their paperwork or something, or they, another issue sometimes is they want to take a shortcut, because when it's a highway, before you get a break where you can make a U-turn, it becomes a challenge. So they resort to driving against traffic in that same. And to me, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know who's supposed to be in charge of that in Abuja. I don't know if it's an AMAC thing. I don't know if it's an FC. I don't know who. They have failed us woefully in that regard. Maybe they're waiting for the day that one really, because Abuja is the land of big men now. Maybe they're waiting, yes, because when you want to try and implement what the law says, somebody will come out and slap their chest and ask you if you know who I am, and all this kind of rubbish. So maybe they're waiting for the day one big man will be involved in a very senseless accident before they wake up. But I've noticed that it is escalating. I even have videos, because anytime I encounter it, I use my videos to grab this footage. And you don't see anything being done about it. Sometimes I think maybe whether the road safety or whoever it is, whether they're overwhelmed.
The problem
sometimes they just stand there.
Sorry to butt in. It's very good you just said this, and you're saying commercial vehicles and all that. The problem in Abuja right now is that I don't think road safety, they're doing their job. I don't think VIO, they're doing their job, because most of the time they concentrate on paper to make money and all that, and they forget those things. Do you know the commercial vehicle is doing one way? Road safety is doing one way. Then the problem,
you know, when I see road safety doing it, I assume that there's an emergency.
There's no emergency. There's no emergency. So the thing now is that the problem now in Abuja, like you said, do you know who I am? So all the big men, because if you look at the, what do you call it, the plate numbers, is either from this place, either is this place, so nobody can stop them. So what I expected road safety and VIO to do, they should do a lot of, what do you call it? Is it, they should go on talk shows. They can go.
But these people know that this thing is wrong.
The point here is that they have to stop.
It's because I personally think it's because there are no consequences.
Exactly.
Look, in this country of ours,
you get away with almost anything. Back to governance.
Yeah, you get away with almost anything.
You know, I've been listening to all of us, and I just took out something. You know, I was waiting for somebody to say it, and it didn't happen. That means it's not possible. Every single scenario you have painted, none says it was okay. Our president now is Tinubu. None says that it was Tinubu that did it, or governor of a state that did it, or local governments that did it. It is us.
The people.
So it is we who are the citizens that are breaking the laws.
No, but we've already said
accidents,
that.
yes, accidents happen
it's
because we're driving one way, like you said.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, we haven't killed Mr. President. We have killed ourselves.
Yes.
And we'll sit back and still condemn the government for doing this.
Government has...
No, but let me tell you where
government has blame.
Let me tell you where government has blame.
Yes.
Please, you said, why are they beating traffic? Have you seen the government convoys? It is scary because I had an experience where there was an accident because the other guy who had the right of way didn't know somebody was going to break the traffic. And I sit down, I say, okay, if your drivers are silly, you are supposed to be responsible. If you tell your drivers and your convoy, you don't beat the traffic, for crying out loud, how many seconds?
30. Max.
That's it, max. So when I see Ogas sitting down at the back of their cars and watching these drivers who don't know what is right or what is wrong, because I always tell people that people in governance tend to do trainings for the people who already know and never do trainings for the supposed low cadre people. This time around, we should concentrate on training the low cadre and stop spending too much money for people who already know.
See why we'll continue to blame public administration, governance and all that, right? It's just about putting systems in place that work and damning the consequences.
That's it.
That is why I'm sorry, but El Rufai remains one of my favorite public administrators.
Me too, me too.
I'm sorry. I know he stepped on a number of toes, maybe a little bit unfairly.
You have to give him
El Rufai, I'm sorry, I really don't like mentioning names. El Rufai is that kind of person that if he's in FCT, and he says today, from today going forward, I don't want to see any vehicle driving against traffic. I dare you to try your luck.
Yes.
I dare you to try your luck. When that man woke up and said, I don't want to see Okada anymore from October 1, I was like, I dare this guy to fail exam. September, is it 30 days September has all? At night, midnight, all the bikes were on their way to Nasarawa State.
That's true.
We need people in governance.
It's consequence.
It can work.
We need people in governance that damn the consequences and make sure that the rules are obeyed, because Nigerians, we like to behave like unruly babies. It's the same set of Nigerians here that cannot stand for 30 minutes and wait for traffic lights. Let them go to the UK. Let them go to the UK. They will even stay 1 minute to be absolutely certain. You will be fined. They will receive your license. They will stop you from driving for a while, and if you are not lucky, you get locked up.
You know,
Nobody is interested in your son.
You mentioned something, I think it was Joy that said it, that your leader was driving, you know, roughly, and you asked, he said because he was running late, you know, for an event. And it brings, you know, to me, what we call Nigerian or African time. I don't know what I don't know what that means.
I don't even know where that
I actually think we waste a lot of resources when we go by those time. I always tell people, when you come to my organization, NTA, and you need to pay for advert, we charge not just in minutes, in seconds. 50 seconds is so much money. If it's on the network, 1 minute, man, it's so much money. I'm not going to call the name,
and it's still cheaper than what the private
sectors do. So that's to tell you how much time is of essence. So we must not play around it. If you are supposed to be in your office by 9 and you're late by 30 minutes, I'll sit back and calculate the time according to the NTA schedule for commercial rates and tell you you're late by 30 minutes and this is how much it's going to cost us.
That's why now in most offices, guess what they've done? You have to clock in.
Biometrics.
So you see, so if you're clocking, you know, before you say, I better sign for me. So now, so I realized that many people are going to office early.
So what I'm trying to say is that if we get to readjust that, a lot of times I notice I like to play with children, and most of them are my friends. Children know and understand the essence of time. So that means by our tabula rasa birth, we came empty, and gradually we are imprinting the right things when they are young. As they get older, somewhere along the line, we begin to wipe it. You can imagine I went to a church. The mass was supposed to start at 8. I was there 15 minutes to 8. The mass didn't get to start until almost 8:20. I didn't say anything.
That's even good now.
I did not say anything. The next weekend, I was there again, the same parish.
No,
the same thing happened.
Surprised.
I had to look out for the office of the person in charge.
Terrible.
And I took the phone number from a write-up.
Yeah.
And I called. And he said, because people don't come in on time.
I'm telling you.
I didn't believe it.
But are you complaining?
And I
20 minutes?
asked him a
It's
simple
just 20
question. So if it was just you and I, you know, and you start this church service, is God not going to open door?
But guess
I
what?
find that very puzzling because
very puzzling.
Every
You know why I say
other
that?
Catholic church I've
They
gone
just-
to,
they
if
just-
it's 8 o'clock and
it's
it's 2 people
8 o'clock.
sitting there, they are started.
So, and I
Those
said
of
to
you that
them,
are coming
you're
at
the one that
8:30
is
is your
making
business.
people come
No,
late.
but let me tell you. You see what you said? I go for weddings in Ekwa. Woe betide you if you're not there at that time. The guy will just continue, and when he stops, because I remembered somebody had a wake up. Do you know the guy came when it ended?
No.
The guy that was supposed to
be the chief mourner. Oh my.
Who does that? And you see Nigerians, we do things and just, like you said, you doubt the consequences.
Somebody will come in late for
Nothing.
something, and you
Nothing
ask the
is wrong.
person, why are you late? He
Yes.
said, what do you mean? It's just 5 minutes
just 5
past.
minutes late.
Do you understand
No,
what
go
it means?
to Nigerian offices on Monday. If you want to see anybody on Monday, I don't do offices on Monday. And somebody asked me why. You will be the only one in that office.
Friday, uncle.
Friday.
Most Fridays by
it's like
12, 1. That's it.
So how can production, you cannot get any productive
But
thing
at
there.
the end of the day, when we skip on the real time,
Yeah.
and government decides to pay you according to your number of time you worked, do we get to complain, right?
Yes.
That's it.
No,
No,
it didn't work.
no consequences.
Yes.
She was saying something about 20 minutes. My man was
Yes.
saying, 20 minutes. I train. Believe me, a training is supposed to start by 9 o'clock. The participants do not waltz in until around 10:30. Most of them. If you are lucky, some of them get there by 10.
And you're not
So you
supposed
see,
to
it's a
start.
mindset.
Yes.
It's a mindset. And that's the mindset we have. Most of us have that mindset. No matter how hard you try to get people to come early, they will still come at their time. So you have to wait.
No, but
Not to do a training and then you train for 30 people and there's no one.
What
What do you train?
change that? Because the truth is, in Nigeria, we complain we don't have money.
Yeah.
If we all, go by a specific time, we can actually take on 2 jobs. If where you're working is 8 hours, you still have another 16 hours to play with. I can decide, okay, I do strictly 8 hours here, have 1 hour break, take another one for 4 hours, and that becomes a supplementary income. But at the end of the day, we waste that time, and we blame who? Somebody invited me for a birthday party, and I asked the person, it's 2 for 2. She said, Haba, are you not in Nigeria? 2 is for 3. I said, why did you write 2 now? You would have written 3.
No,
She
they
said,
just
that's
do
how
that
they
to
do it.
get,
I said, okay. 5 minutes to 3, I was at the venue in my
nobody
car.
did it, yeah.
I went with somebody. 3 o'clock on the dot, I got down, gave them my car key. They repacked the car. I said, park it where I can easily access it. I went there. It was just me and the person that accompanied me. They were decorating. So I took pictures.
You can see.
No, I took pictures. The few people were arriving,
is
trying
not
to
even
set
ready.
up. I took pictures, and I tried to call the lady. She wasn't answering the
won't
call.
pick up.
I took enough pictures
Pictures
around
to show
the
that I
yes.
was here.
I even went to where her picture was, placed. Sat down with the picture and took pictures, and I forwarded all of that to her. 1 hour after,
into
4
your
o'clock,
car.
I left.
No, but you see the thing that makes
Because
me,
I had done
but
my
you know
own.
the thing that makes me laugh. Yesterday, the 10th assembly, they gave them a time. Were they not there? You see, it's a Nigerian, it's just a Nigerian thing.
If I
and
may
that was
come
why
in.
I'm coming. Let me tell you this one that happened, because I always like to tell real life stories. My church has 2 services now. It used to be 1 service. A friend of mine came in and she said she had an issue with my pastor. And I said, because she was my friend. And I said, why? She said she came to church. They didn't allow her in. I said, which service did you come for? She said, first service. I said, what time did you come for first service? She said, 8:45. Service closes at 9. And I asked her a question. What do you want to tell the pastor? You're an embarrassment. Because the point here is that if they said you have to go and see the president, You will get there 5 hours before the time.
Absolutely.
But now you're supposed to go worship God. But just the point here is that because God is up there, you just think that you can do anything and get away with it. You see, our mindset has to change. We should not leave everything for government. It has to be us first as a people.
The point I was trying to make with this whole African time thing is, I don't know who coined the phrase,
Honestly.
because we are always very eager to own negatives.
Yes.
I don't know why. Some of the biggest 419ers in the world are not even black, never mind Nigerian. Male and female alike. The Ponzi scheme is named after an Italian.
Yes.
So let me not even start that conversation. This whole African time thing, I don't know where the name came from, but we need to discard it.
Yes.
Go to the village and tell them you want a meeting at 9 o'clock. People are seated at 8:30.
Yeah.
True.
9:15, they are leaving.
Yes.
Because clearly you are not ready.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And the bulk of our population is in the villages. They tell you 70% of us are living in the rural areas. So who is the person that coined this term, African time, Nigerian time? Who are they people? And why are we owning it? That was not my experience.
Even the airlines do African time.
Because when I was...
Even the airlines.
Even the airlines.
When I was...
Nigerian Airlines, but
spending a lot of time in the rural areas, for all the politicking and stuff like that. 9 out of 10 times I was the one who would arrive late. Not very late, but because of issues of logistics, this is not where I ordinarily live and things like this. I might show up like, I have a meeting at 9. I turn up at 9:10. People are grumbling. They are angry. They are frustrated. 10 minutes past 9. The meeting was to start at 9 o'clock. So after that happened to me like 2 or 3 times, if the person that's supposed to drive me is not ready, I'm hopping into the first available car.
That's it.
That is a supporter and going there. At least let me get there before my team.
Yes.
So it is not a Nigerian time thing.
Yeah.
It is not an African time thing. And I personally resent it anytime that language is used. As for going to church, personally, that is why, I don't know, maybe as I'm talking, I'm hoping 1 or 2 family members might be watching it. By the time it's like 5 minutes to 9 or 5 minutes to the, and people, I get really angry.
Because you
because
already know.
nobody at my house has ever missed a flight.
Bagam.
We've never missed a flight.
Okay.
But when it's church.
But when it's church time, you want us to stroll in
challenge.
5 minutes past 10, past the time. 10, I don't like it. Nothing will happen. They will let us in and all that. But I feel as if that is the biggest disrespect I could give God. This one day allotted for me to just go and spend Catholic Mass. Now, how long did they last? Highest 2 hours. Just to get there on time and so they sit down in the pew. I'm still arriving when the sermon is already well and done. I don't like it.
For me, I've always been a time-conscious person. And when I remember when I used to go for trainings, most of the time I get there before even the trainers. Whenever I have an appointment, in fact, some my friends used to tease me a lot. I'm always there, at least, my rule is I'm there 30 minutes before time.
Of course.
If I have an appointment by 9 o'clock, I leave my house by 8. Because I give time for anything that can happen between the time I leave my house to that place. When I get there, I will wait. Sometimes if I think, okay, perhaps there's a possibility maybe, especially when I don't know the place, I'm going to find it, I go much earlier. I used to have serious problem with people. Because you have an appointment with someone, we decide to meet somewhere to go, she will not come until maybe an hour after I have arrived. I will get so angry. Then later I ask myself, look, leave people where they are. So now I go there, I make sure I go with my work, and I do something productive with my time. So when they waltz in at their own time, I simply smile and we move on from there.
Unfortunately, I have refused to be changed. I'm a stickler for time. If you give me time, please keep to that time. Because even if it takes... It is a collective effort to change the society. And I sincerely believe that if you begin to fall back to people who are doing the wrong things...
No, it is not falling back.
You.
But I don't get angry. That's a difference.
I will give you the time. If I go for your ceremony, especially those who write, program of events and send out to you, you'll tell me this program is going to start by 9 and it ends by 12. And I'll tell you clearly, if I can reach you, that I only have 1 hour. Well, if I come in by that 9 o'clock, and 10 o'clock, you're not done, you're not even started, I will go, but I'll give you evidence of the fact that I was there. So I played my own role, and I played it well. So people should learn to respect, constituted time and authority, if you ask me. It's important because if we do this...
You know why I'm laughing? Somebody invites you to a party.
Thank you.
And the person is not there.
The person arrives about 3 hours after you're already there.
You see this self-entitlement Nigerians have, it beats me. You invited me. You are not there. Yeah. So since you are not there, and there are some places you go to, some supposedly big guys haven't come.
Yeah.
So the party
or the event will not start. Yeah.
You see, these are the things that, and you know what? And that's why productivity in Nigeria
is poor.
It's poor.
It's poor.
That's the thing. So you see, and this thing, the one that kills me is that you gave me an appointment to come to your damn office. I can see you watching me, and you're not doing anything in your office.
How do you know?
Oh my God. I'm too old not to have experienced life. I do contracts, so I know.
I think some people do that to make themselves feel
important.
That was where,
important.
Yeah, that was where I was going to. Because here you have friends who you are all buddies. Then the next thing they give them a position.
And they're not big men or women.
So they now say you should come to the office. And the next thing you watch me, I'm tired, I'm sitting this way, I'm doing this thing, and they're excited. Yeah. But they're silly.
I actually think when it comes to appointments, I actually think that we should form the habit of working with a schedule. Okay. If I ask somebody to come to have a talk with me at 9 o'clock, and another person is calling me for the same day, I have an idea of what your discussion will be. I'm going to tell you, please don't come at 9, come at 10. If I have a third one, I'm going to tell you, don't come at 10, come at perhaps 12 o'clock. Because number one, I don't like to keep people waiting because I don't like to be kept waiting.
That's you, girl.
So because of that, I space it out. But there are some people who are pretty much like you. You do it a lot. Our program starts by 9. You're here by 8 o'clock.
Yes.
No, not 8 o'clock.
Very early. I've never come and you're not seated.
I don't know. It's like my programming.
Well, there was a day when I was 10 steps ahead of her.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I always make sure I get there before the show starts.
I cannot not come. I don't know. I try. Yeah. I cannot not come early.
Yes.
I think it's just a programming. I'm just so used to not being late.
What that tells me is people who are very conscious of that is they're very disciplined people.
I try.
And it still tells me that if I give you an assignment, you will contribute meaningfully to it.
Please say it again. So that somebody that is watching, maybe they lose. They're like, I'm like, say it again.
Don't use our program to shade anybody. Don't use our program to shade anybody.
I'm looking for someone
selling herself.
She's using stuff. We have somebody that may be watching.
Okay. So when you're very punctual, it translates to the fact that you're disciplined.
Yes.
Because it takes a whole lot to wake up in the morning and you're still feeling very sleepy. And you tell yourself, no, I gotta go, I gotta go do this. It takes a lot of efforts to do that.
I have to give you a lot of credit.
Thank you.
I always get here and you're seated. That's a big tops.
So we as Nigerians, I'm particular about this because whenever a new government, coming, we give them a long list. Sometimes they don't get to see this list, but it's in our brain of what to achieve on our own parts. Especially those of us who are working for government, do we also have a long list of the things we're going to do to, make the government succeed?
Guess what? First, let's start by saying how many people voted.
That's a good one.
The thing here is that people never vote because they say their vote never counts. But like I always tell people, just go and vote. If it didn't count and there's somebody in power, I knew who I voted for. I don't have to tell anybody. So the bottom line, whether he won or he didn't win is nobody's business.
Just support
the point now is that I have a president. So I have to support the president, and I have to support, even though I don't know who is from my constituency, but it doesn't matter. Now, we need accountability from them.
Now you see it matters because you need to know the person. Get the person accountable.
So you see, the thing now is that let us not just sit down and wait for that other citizen to do the work that we can do. So the thing now is that you look for who is your own House of Rep member, who is your senator, and have meetings with them. So that, you see, when you interact with them, like, that's why I like Nigeria. These days, it's not about money. They will whack your money and they'll vote who they want to vote. Yeah. Now is that after 4 years, you can't be begging all over the place. People have become wise. Why? The Gen Zs and the millennials have taken over through technology. So now, it's not, they can take your money, but they'll vote who they want to vote. So now, instead of you coming back the next 4 years, there's some politicians who came in. They didn't have to make too much noise. They didn't have to spend too much money. Definitely. Because their work had spoken for them. Definitely. So the thing now is that we should make sure that our politicians and us should be accountable for what's happening in our surroundings.
Okay, that's a good way to, check them. I don't know, what other ways can we ensure that this government is successful as good citizens? I mean, not asking them to do things for us. What can we do for the country, so to speak?
Well, I'm always big on self-accountability, honestly. And I think sometimes I overdo it because I don't even hold other people accountable as much. And I think it's always from within. Let's start with ourselves. Are we ever accountable to ourselves? Sure. I remember this phrase when I watch a lot of American movies. Don't ask what America can do for you.
What can you do?
What can you do for America? I think this is a slogan we should start to hold in Nigeria. Because we all seem to want to eat. We all seem to want to take and take and take from Nigeria. We hardly think of giving back. And you see, that's the problem with our programming. I remember as a child, honestly, it was so different. There was much more decency and sense of integrity. Now our leaders are basically rubbing us blind. And we are the people. We see people, everyday people, could become leaders, and they become exactly the people we've been condemning. They're not aliens.
And nobody's saying anything.
Yeah, so we have to hold ourselves accountable. What do we do for Nigeria? And before we even go far, I keep saying it, start from yourself and your home. Yes. When you were talking about community, for me, building community starts from myself. Yeah. Raising children who believe in kindness and empathy.
Yes.
Believe me, and I will share this with you. All along, since I've been married for 20 years, anytime I move to a new place, I go and I knock on the door of my neighbors and say, hello, my name is Umi, I just moved here, da, 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 da. I had always been doing it, but over time it has become difficult. Because now you knock on the door and who you are represents something to the person.
Yes.
And you see people being uncomfortable, like, what does she want? Who is she? And I don't blame them because things have changed. So let's raise kids who are kind and who have empathy, who judge people by their hearts, the person's character and not where they worship or how they look. True. I think for me, that's building community. That's building society.
True.
Okay.
Just as a rider to what Okpanachi said, you see this whole business of collecting money and then going to do your mind, it's very dangerous. People have been murdered as a result, yes, because when these politicians realize that you collected their money and maybe worked against them, or actually didn't do anything at all, they come after you for those goods.
Yes.
Maybe they gave you something in kind. If it's in kind, well, they're taking your life because you can't return it.
Yeah.
If it's cash, they're wanting it back, and they're giving you a time limit to bring that money. If it's a car, they're seizing it. So for me, I just want to quickly use this opportunity to say, if you are being offered money that you know is not in tandem with your values and you will not deliver accordingly, politely decline. Too many people have lost their lives as a result of this. We've spoken about traffic, we've spoken about late coming. Another thing we can do ordinarily as Nigerians is this. There was a time when my husband would always complain if he entered my car.
Why?
Litter.
Litter, yeah. No throwing outside.
I live in the Now let me explain why. I'm not this person that would chew gum and then toss it out the window.
Yeah.
So I'll put it in that small hole that's meant to hold the bottle. Maybe I'll drop it. And then when I get home, I'm rushing into the house.
So you forget it.
I forget about the existence of the car. It has served its purpose. I don't go where I go, come back and everything. So if you were to judge me by the appearance of my car, you would think, this woman, she's so dirty, she's so... It's when I need to use the car again that
then you now realize...
So, come on, pack this thing, carry this one, carry this one, carry this one, and all of this. But that's because I don't want to litter my environment. And I'm thinking that let me just take the trash with me home. I have dustbins in my house. I'll empty it into the dustbin there. Of course, I'd forget and leave it there until I need to use the car again. I'll be like, oh, bring this thing, or come and remove this and remove this. Now, if you were to use my car to judge me, you'd think my house would be filthy. My house is almost always pristine. I hate litter. I don't like filth and all of this. But these are very tiny things that in this case government has no business with. Because even if we say that government should put dustbins, I'm not going to park my car and carry litter and go and put in a bin. I'm already in transit.
Let me tell you something. When they said government put dustbin, I went to Old Parade Ground here. I'll gladly say it belongs to all of us. And there was this dustbin they said is purely for organic. There was another one
for
inorganic. Do you know that people will come in, drink the fizzy drinks, biscuits, and all of that, go to the organic. They did not even throw it inside, drop it by the side. And then if you go around the place, you see that it's a big mess. And I'm asking, are there not people responsible? Are we expecting President Tinubu or the past president to go in to take care of that place? Somebody is paid to take care of it. Your responsibility, how much do you handle it?
No, but
excuse me. People, what this translates to, I come from an area where erosion is big time. And I tell people, you pack your rubbish. Rather than go to dispose where you're supposed to do it, you dump it in the gutters, the drainages.
Yeah, the drainages.
Before you know it, you're going to be screaming, erosion is killing us, government is not doing anything. Meanwhile, you brought these ant-infested faggots to your house. You know, so let's try to do the right things and let the government do their, and then everybody should begin to form what I call refuse marshals. You know, when somebody's doing the wrong thing, by way of degrading the society or the environment, speak to the person, raise alarm. Where are the health workers that used to go out and
they will not do that, you know. Let one small picking come and cause you unnecessary
I've actually got but I still
let me tell you that there was a place I grew up in Lagos. You know, I'm from a military background where you just respect yourself in your house. Nobody is knocking. And that, you know, like when you were saying that thing about going to somebody's house and knock, oh, I'm your neighbor. When you're in the military setting, it's a bit different. So we were more like just on our own, you know. You just respect yourself and stay where you are. So when after the military thing, my father left and we had to now go and stay in an estate. I will never forget when people were coming to, and I'm like, these people have been nosy. Why are they coming? Because of that was the life I knew, and somehow I enjoyed it. I knew everybody. Everybody was everybody's keeper. Yeah. If they don't see you, they come look for you. They ask for you. We're doing stuff together. And one thing I loved about that estate was that they had a head of the community, a chairman, a vice chairman, and all that. And what did we do? Since Lagos State refused to take care of that place, all the citizens who were there, all the people who lived there, now decided that, okay, this is the amount we pay for every month to take care of our place. So we got private people to clean the place. Then they warned everybody about this drainage thing because, you know, Lagos, everywhere is water, 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 and all that. So you cannot cross to your house. You have to cross with a car. You can't go with your legs. So there was a lot. And I realized those things work if we want to do them.
It does.
Can I add something quickly, please? You see what you just said about this thing about being your neighbor's keeper?
Yeah.
As a Muslim, this is what I was taught. That the rights my neighbor has over me. So I was raised to believe that I had to do right by my neighbor. Okay. Now look at the stories that have been trending about this couple that died in their home for 3 days.
Nobody knew.
And nobody in Abuja here.
Nobody knew.
Because of our Abuja lifestyle.
Yes.
You don't even check up on your neighbor. We all do our mind my business or Imbo lifestyle.
Kind of stuff.
Look at where it's getting us to.
Anyway, let's a lot of people are writing. Let's communicate with them. Somebody says here, African time is just a mindset, and I truly believe that. The next person says again, still on African time, it is a lie established by some low-esteem persons to make excuses about their own mistakes. I think I totally buy into that. All right, good morning. Very interesting topic. This time, issues affect us. Caterers, honestly, is annoying. Yeah. I wish Nigeria can learn to keep to time. Yes, still about African time. You cook your food and it's supposed to late. Honestly.
Sometimes they come early and the food gets cold because people are
not cold. Yes.
But what of the ones that don't come early?
Yeah, sometimes it does.
The issue of coming late in the mosque does not arise because the imam and the ladan will call the prayer at the time immediately and start doing the prayers. So does coming late. So coming late those who are coming late will miss the prayers. So if you know you are coming late, you will miss prayer. And if you miss prayer, Elizabeth is adding, you will miss the blessings. All right. African time syndrome is a monster that has finished us. I wish I have power to deal with people about it. It really gets me mad. Noble from Cuba. Noble, you do have power. If you ask me, give people time and put money attached to it or some incentive, you know, and tell them the first to come in. You may not even mention it. I do that a lot. If you come in early, I say for coming early, this is your gift. Once it's a question of reinforcement and you know motivation and stuff like that. It shouldn't come always really, but then. Prince Chigozie Nadi says, I attended a church wedding in Anambra. Before the couple came, the reverend almost finished the mass. Or if we have good leaders that respect time, the followers will adjust. Definitely, I believe you. And another person says, I appreciate you guys for your conversation. Actually, it motivates me, not turning back, but looking forward in joining hands with serious Nigerians and lifting our country forward. My name is Friday Steve Gerard from Lafia. Thank you. He says our conversation has motivated him. That's good. Timing is very important. Comes back then in seminary school. We wake up by 5 a.m. like robots. We will program. From 5 a.m. to 10 p.m., which is lights out. You must respect the timing, else you get punished. Now I was sacked because I told my boss, Oga, you two, they come late, jokingly. And the boss sacked him. Can you imagine?
So you see where we're coming from.
But that's master, you have to use sense.
Exactly.
You have to use sense. You can't tell Oga, you got to kill him.
Very autocratic. He told his boss. Yeah, the boss should. You see, this is a problem.
What is the problem?
The problem now is that what's wrong in you telling your boss?
No,
the
problem is that you have
common sense.
Yes, your boss matters. How can you say right to come late? Grace?
Autocratic environment.
You see, this is a problem. If the head is bad, the whole body is going to be bad.
Not necessarily. Honestly, I don't agree with that.
No, but what?
The head can be bad. Honestly, the body doesn't have to be bad.
How do you get production when the guy? Because if the boss is not there,
yeah.
So how do you start?
The head is bad. It will affect production, yes.
Yes.
But it doesn't make, for me, the head can be bad. The body doesn't have to be bad as well. For me.
I'll share an experience I had. Some time ago, I had some interns working with me. I would come into work. I usually like to come very early. I will come in like 8 o'clock, and they will come in 8:15, 8:30. And I say, like, I'm earlier than you, and I'm supposed to be older than you. The next day, two of them, I remember Jerry and I think the other girl was Ada. She came from Ohio University. The next day, they came 7:30. I decided the third day, I came 7 o'clock. The fourth day, these children came 6:30. We were just beating ourselves like that. So at the point, I said, these children might drive me out of my house by 4 a.m. I'm not going to compete with them again. So we settled to come in at 7:30. And almost all the time, I found out I was the one coming 7:45, 7:40. They were here 7:30.
So is that what I'm saying?
So it depends on the context. My context is quite
different. It doesn't always have to be what she said, but I think that if you're a leader, you should lead by example. Those of us who are Christian, Jesus told us that he's washing feet and is an example. So if you're a leader, no matter where you are. You're a leader if you're a mom. If you're a leader, you're also a leader if you have people, you know, ahead of you in the home. Like I tell my first daughter, you must do things right because you're setting precedent for the younger ones. So I made a lot of effort to make sure I mold her well.
That's what I mean about when the head is bad, the body doesn't have to be bad. Because that's the excuse we all give.
No, but
if the head,
it doesn't have to be bad.
It affects it.
Usually affects the body.
No, I don't doubt it. But you see, I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
But that's why self-accountability comes in. If the head is doing the wrong thing, if the head puts his hand inside fire, would you put your hand inside fire?
But guess what?
No.
If I'm a first child, and after a while I was wondering if my mom was my mom. Because she was hounding on me.
Yeah.
Oh, do this. Oh, do this. Oh, do this. And it was so much that it was scary. But guess what? What she did to me, she didn't do it to the others.
Yeah.
Because she said they will look at you first, and everything you do, and that's what sisters and brothers do.
Both of you, that's parenting.
Yeah, that's
both of you
parenting.
are actually right. Sometimes the head is, the first child is not okay.
Yeah.
And the second ones say, okay, I'm not going to toe after this person. But 90% of the time in parenting, if you get your first child right, it's easier for you to handle the other ones. I did it, and I know it helped me. With the other two, I was a little bit, you know, laid back because somebody was there to fill in for me when I wasn't around.
Yeah. So I was too hard on my son too.
I call firstborn deputy parents.
Yeah, that was a lot of work.
All right. So that's where we wrap it up for today. And whatever we do, we should remember that this country does not, you know, begin and end on the table of Mr. President or the governors or the senators or any other person. It's all our collective effort to make sure it works. Do your own bits and let others do their own. Be good citizens. Bye.